Madam President, the stated mission of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is, quote, to enhance the health and well-being of all Americans. It's a laudable goal. The HHS Secretary is thus charged with overseeing all government health care and social services and protecting the health and the rights of the American people. Worthy goal, important job. Unfortunately, the history of the nominee before us, Mr. Javier Becerra, poses grave concerns to our ability to carry out this goal and for our ability to oversee an agency with such vast, far-reaching responsibilities. First, Mr. Becerra has repeatedly been on the record for wanting to eliminate private health insurance for millions of Americans, even at a time when families need affordable, effective, and flexible health care, and when health care workers need jobs, perhaps now more than ever. What's more concerning, however, is that while in public office, Mr. Becerra has repeatedly, deliberately undermined Americans' constitutional rights and waged political warfare on those who happen to disagree with his views. Take, for example, his views on abortion. Instead of supporting laws that protect and sustain the life and health of American women and unborn children, Mr. Becerra has supported laws that violently hurt them, endorsing legal abortion up until and even during the moment of birth. As Attorney General of the state of California, he brought 15 felony charges against a reporter for exposing Planned Parenthood's role in trafficking the body parts of aborted babies, a prosecution that even the Los Angeles Times described as disturbing overreach. And he defended a California law that required pro-life pregnancy centers to advertise for state-funded abortion clinics, a law that so egregiously violated free speech that the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional, which, of course, it was and is. Not only that, but he's consistently and flagrantly taken hostile actions against the free exercise of religion. Perhaps the worst example of this can be found in his legal persecution of the Little Sisters of the Poor. Now, this is a religious order of Catholic nuns who care for the elderly poor. Becerra waged a lengthy, difficult battle to force the sisters, again, this is an order of nuns, to pay for abortion drugs and contraception in their health insurance plan, even though doing so violates their beliefs, and even though they're nuns. Even after the Supreme Court ruled for the Little Sisters of the Poor in 2016, under a separate case, and after the Trump administration granted them full conscience protections in 2017, Mr. Becerra still sued the Trump administration in an attempt to pierce those protections. Again, he wasn't comfortable with letting those protections stand in place with respect to the Little Sisters of the Poor. No, he was determined, even still, to make sure that they couldn't live according to their own religious beliefs and their teachings. During the pandemic, Becerra was the legal architect of some of the country's most strident, sweeping, and brazenly unconstitutional restrictions on church and on worship services, some of which were struck down by the Supreme Court last month. And he even tried to prevent COVID relief funds from going to religious and other private schools. Madam President, our founders established the principle of religious liberty, the natural right of all human beings to freely hold and live out their religious beliefs, because they understood that man is not free unless his conscience is free. They thought that this principle was so important, so fundamental, that it was the first freedom articulated in the very First Amendment to the Constitution. In doing so, they sought to defend and preserve the space for our deepest convictions, a space upon which the state cannot and must never encroach. In practice, that has meant that the government's job is not to tell people what to believe or how to discharge their religious duties, but to protect the space for all people of all faiths, and of no faith at all, for that matter, to seek truth and to order their lives accordingly. The American people deserve a leader at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services who will uphold and strengthen this monumental tradition. They deserve a leader who will protect their fundamental rights, not trample them. Unfortunately, tragically, the record of this nominee demonstrates serious threats to the rights and the health and the well-being of the American people. They deserve better, and in good conscience, I cannot support the nomination of Mr. Becerra. Thank you, Madam President. I yield back my time.